Good morning, dear students, and welcome for the Unit 2 on System Programming. So, from today, we are going to start with the Unit 2 that is based on micro and microprocessors. So, let us see in today's session what is the syllabus for the Unit 2. Under Unit 2 microprocessor, loader and linker, we are going to study microprocessor where we will see the micro definition and call, macro expansion, nested macro call and definition, and the advanced macro facilities. Then we will design the two-pass microprocessor. The second part of Unit 2 talks about the loader scheme, compile and go, general loader scheme, absolute loader scheme, and subroutine. Then we have linkages, relocation, linking concept. We have self-relocating program, relocating loaders, and direct linking. And finally, we see the loaders and overlay structure. So this is the syllabus for our Unit 2 in respect to system programming. So before we go on with the contents of the Unit 2, let us see what is the course outcomes. So dear students, after learning this particular unit based on macros from SP, you will be in the position to design and implement assembler microprocessor loaders. Fine. So this is the outcome of this particular unit that we are going to study. So now let us see what is the outline for this particular session that we are going to conduct. We are going to look up, for the introduction of microprocessor. Then we will see the macro definition and call. The next topic that I am going to cover today is the micro expansion. In the next lecture, we have nested macro calls and definition, advanced macro facilities, and the design of the microprocessor. So this is the outline for the session on Unit 2. So now to begin with our lecture, our session, let us first discuss about the introduction to macro and the macroprocessor. So dear students, I think you must have heard this particular term macro or macro instructions. We have used this many times in other high level programming language that we studied earlier like C, C++, even other high level language like PL, ADA, assembly language is also using this feature. You can see at the end of the slide, there is one example saying hash define max 10. I think you people are very much aware of this particular statement that we use in C programming. So here, a max is a particular kind of macro. So an hash define is an inbuilt function, inbuilt programming facility which tells the compiler that this is a macro with the name max, and when wherever the max is seen in the entire program, we need to replace that with the number 10. So we don't have to use the value 10 every time in the program. Instead, we use max, and wherever there is a max, it is replaced with the value 10. So this is something, a short form for a certain group or the block of instruction, we can say, right? So macro are used to provide a program generation facility through macro expansion. Many languages provide built-in facility for writing macros. As I told you, some of the high-level language like C, C++, ADA, PL, all these languages along with the assembly language, they provide a facility of macro. So when a language does not support a built-in macro facility, a programmer may achieve an equivalent effect by using generalized preprocessors or certain software tools like AVK of Unix, right? So we can also have some software tools used to have this facility of macro if there is no built-in macro facility, right, friends? So I hope now with this you understood some basic idea about what is macro. Let us see some more uh, points related to macro. As I told you, it is a facility of a programming language. What is the basic idea is that it macro represents a commonly used group of statement in the source programming language. What happens that each time this name occurs in a program, that is the macro name, every macro has a unique name with it, and whenever this name occurs in the program, the sequence of code is submitted at that point, right? So that macro name in the macro call is replaced by the sequence of code which is defined in the macro. It allows the programmer to write a shorthand version of a program. Okay, so basically there is a repeated code that we can say is a macro, and whenever this piece of code is repeated multiple times in a program, it is very much convenient to put it in the macro and just make a macro call instead of writing that repeated statements of instruction. That makes programmer gives a programmer a good programming facility and saves the line of code as well, right? So this is the basic idea behind a macro. So you can see in the program somewhere repeated statements are there, such kind of repeated statements. So this can be put into one macro and it can be called whenever required, right? So I hope now you got a basic idea about the macro and what it is about. We will see the syntax and the representation and the macro call in details now. So we can say there are three main steps of macro. First is we need to define the macro using and have a unique name for a macro. Then we write its definition, and then the third is to use the macro name from within the program anywhere its definition is seen. So what happens, we have a macro, we have a macro body, and there is one another assembler which defines the end of the macro. And then we have a concept called as macro call, using which we can make a call to the macro in any part of the program. So to define a macro, we need two assembly directives. One is the macro and the second is the end. So this indicates the start of the macro, whereas end indicates the end of the block of code which we defined in the macro body. So in this, as you can see in this particular PPT, this is how our macro looks like. So our macro starts with a statement called as macro. So it indicates the start of the definition followed by the name of the macro. So for in this example, INCR is the name of the macro. You can give any name to your macro. Then we have certain sequence of instructions, statements that is in the body of the macro. Okay, so this a set of statements indicates the body, and the end of the macro is indicated by the end statement. So it indicates the termination of the macro, right? So we have a macro followed on the first line as a definition, followed by the name of the macro. We have the statements sequence of instructions as a body of the macro, and we end the macro with end statement, right? Then once we have defined this macro for our program, what we need to do is we need to make a call to the macro. A macro is called by writing a macro name in the mnemonic field of the assembly statement. So you can see this is the syntax of macro call, where the name of the macro and its actual arguments are given. Okay, so this is how you make a call to the macro using this particular syntax anywhere in the program, and in that place what happens is we replace this particular macro with the statements defined in the macro body, and those statements are executed here, right? So this is the definition of the macro and how to make a macro call. Macro calls definitely leads to the micro expansion. So dear students, we have seen how to define a macro. We have seen the general syntax or structure of a macro. Then we have understood what is macro call. And the third thing is, whenever we make a macro call, it leads to the macro expansion. Means what? During this macro expansion, what happens, the macro call is replaced by this sequence of instructions which are defined in the macro body. For example, here it is, you can see this is my macro definition. So I have macro with the name incr. These are the arguments defined for my macro. These are the different statements of execution like move, add, move m, and this is the end. Okay, I make a macro call. Okay, so by what is the syntax of macro call? We have seen that we have to give the name of the macro followed by the actual arguments. So I am passing here the actual arguments for this particular macro. This is how I make a call to the macro. And what happens that this macro call leads to the macro expansion. That is, wherever this macro call is seen in the program, it is replaced by this statements which is defined in the body of macro. Right, friends? So I hope now macro expansion is clear to you. Now you can see here the example. A sequence of instructions are used to increment the value of memory word by a constant, for example, right? So what we have to do, we have to move a value from a memory word into the memory register. Then we need to increment the value in the machine register and then move the new value into the memory word. So you can see that move, add, move. This three set of instructions are repeated number of times. Maybe for example, we consider it is repeated or used number of times in a program. So definitely it is convenient for us to put these three lines into a macro, and instead of again and again writing these three statements, wherever you need these three actions move, add, move, you can just make a call to the macro. So this is the benefit or the facility that a programmer has using a macro, where there is a repetition of a few statements multiple times in a program. We can conveniently use macro instead of writing those number of statements, right, friends? So I hope that this concept of macro is very much clear to you. Now let us see macro expansion more in details with example. So till now whatever we have discussed, if you have any doubt, you can please ask me. Okay, so let us continue with our discussion on macro expansion. So the flow of control during the expansion. So dear students, by default, we can say that the flow of control during the micro expansion is sequential. That is, from statement number 1, after the macro definition, we go on executing the statements in the body of the macro sequentially till we come across the end, that is macro end statement, right? So we are going through sequential flow of control for the macro expansion. So a preprocessor statement can alter the flow of control during the expansion such that So there is some facility where you can also alter the flow of control. A default sequence flow is sequential, but if you want to alter the flow of control, then there are two ways through which you can do. That is called as condition expansion, conditional expansion, and second is expansion time loop. Okay, so some model statements are never visited in the macro. Okay, or they are visited only on particular condition, so that is called as conditional expansion, whereas some statements are repeated like a loop. Okay, so that we can say call expansion time loop. Okay, so this controls the flow of control. So here is one example or the algorithm for micro expansion. You can see, so here a variable is used that is called as MEC, which is nothing but a micro expansion counter. What happens, the flow of control during the micro expansion, it is implemented by this particular counter, which is called as macro expansion counter. Like we have counter defined in the loop, okay, to increment after every execution of every pass in the loop. Similarly, we have this macro expansion counter which can be used and to control the flow in case of the conditional expansion or expansion time loops. We can make use of this particular counter. As you can see here in this algorithm, we can find a loop here. Okay, and there is a model statement and with the if condition. So if this, for this particular if condition, if it is true, then only it will go into the expand statement for the macro. Means for this condition only the macro expansion takes place and the micro expansion counter is incremented. Okay, else whatever is the condition that you want to give, or whatever is the statement you need to execute, that you can give and exit from the macro expansion. So this is the concept of micro expansion with the flow control using the micro expansion counter, right? The same thing we can understand by looking at the example. So what happens, this is our code. For example, let us consider this is the assembly code where we have defined a macro with the name incr. These are the statements in the macro and here we have end. Now in the remaining portion of the program we are making two times call to this macro. So this is called as the macro call. Okay, macro call. Now here in this macro we don't have any kind of arguments, so we are not passing any actual argument, only the name. Using a name we are making a call. So wherever this incr we can see in the program, what will happen in the expanded macro expansion, this particular line will be replaced by these three statements which are defined in the body of macro. Likewise, so wherever you can see incr, it is replaced with this particular statement. So this is your source program and this is your expanded source program with the micro expansion. So I hope micro expansion is also clear to you. I have shown you with the example. Now we will again consider one example with arguments, and so this is called as the advance or the features of macro facility, where you can have macro defined with certain instruction arguments, right? So you can see here there is a macro defined, and with this macro there is a argument ampersand arg, it is the argument. So we have this macro name along with one argument. So what happens whenever you make a call to the macro, as you know the syntax for the macro call, you have to write the name of the macro followed by the actual argument. So data 1, as you can see here, is the actual argument. So what happens is whenever you make a call to this particular macro, this data 1 is replaced by argument. Means it replaces ampersand argument, this particular argument which is defined in the macro, right? So I hope you understand this particular concept. It is similar to C programming. So we replace your arguments with the actual argument as we make a call, right? So wherever, so whatever is this argument data 1, so for when you make this call increment data 1, so data 1 is passed to this macro, and wherever you see argument, sorry, that is replaced by data 1. So in the expanded code, you will see that A1 data 1, A2 data 1, A3 data 1. In short, ampersand argument is replaced with data 1. Similarly, in the second macro call, we are passing the operand data 2 as an argument. So in the expanded form, here ampersand argument is replaced by data 2, right? So this is called as macro expansion with argument, right? So I hope now this particular concept is clear to you. You can also define a macro with the argument, and sometimes this is called as the dummy arguments, okay? Because we are replacing these arguments with this actual argument, right? So this argument which are defined is called as the dummy argument. So I hope that you are clear with the arguments. Also, you can pass different types, more than one arguments in the macro definition. That is also possible with the macro. So here is another example where you can see that we have different more number of arguments defined in our macro, and all the arguments are different. So what happens whenever you make a call, so you need how to pass that many number of actual arguments or the parameters in the call. So each and every argument is replaced with the actual argument in the expansion, right? So friends, can you see this particular macro? So you have the macro with three arguments: argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. When you make a call, you are passing data 1, data 2, data 3. So just have a look on this expanded code. Can you see here? You have the first line of the macro where you can see argument 1, it is replaced by data 1. Similarly, this in the second line, argument 2, which is the second argument in the definition of macro, it is replaced by actual argument data 2. Similarly, argument 3 is replaced by data 3. Similarly, you can have so multiple calls of the macro passing the actual argument, and accordingly in that sequence only the arguments are mapped and replaced. So here data 3 is defined here. So definitely it is going to replace argument 1. Okay, remember this. So data 3 you can see it is mapped with argument 1, data 2 is mapped with argument 2, while data 1 is mapped with argument 3 in the second call. So got it? So this is how you carry out macro expansion. So the first 2 points from our discussion about the macro definition, macro call, and the second point, that is of macro expansion, we have already discussed here. So if any questions till here, you can ask me. I hope the concept is clear to here to you all about the macro and the macro definition and its expansion, and what is the use of this particular macro facility, right friends? So is this clear to you till here? If it is clear to you, we can just proceed with this topic of conditional macro expansion. As we discussed earlier, that in some cases, in some situations, we need to expand macro based on condition. So that is advanced feature of microprocessor, which is provided here in the assembly language. Okay, so how what is conditional micro expansion and how we move ahead with the conditional micro expansion is what I'm going to explain you now. But before proceeding here to this particular point, I would just again like to ask if everything is clear to the point I have discussed, then we are fine to go with this new concept, that is conditional micro expansion. So microprocessor have pseudo operations. Okay, it permits recording of a sequence of micro expansion, and there are two ways of conditional branching, which is called as you can see here, AIF. Okay, that is like a if statement, if condition that we use in C programming, and AGO, that is again this is unconditional pseudo opcode. It is like a go-to statement that we use in programming languages. Okay, so I just gave you analogy so that you can easily understand. So AIF is like a if condition, AGO, it is a unconditional pseudo opcode, which is like a go-to statement, right friends? So as you can see, this allows conditional selection of machine instruction. Yeah. So conditional macro expansion, it allows conditional selection of machine instruction that appears in the expansion of macro call, right? So there is some condition. So based on condition, we decide to go ahead with the micro expansion. Microprocessor pseudo opcodes AIF and AGO helps to do the conditional micro expansion. So what is the meaning of AIF? It is a conditional branch opcode. It performs arithmetic test and the branch only if the condition is true, right? So if you have given some condition in AIF and if that condition is true, then only it will enter into the execution of the next statement in the loop. Okay, and AGO is unconditional pseudo opcode, or it is like a go-to statement. Both these statements specify label appearing in some other instruction within a macro definition. So these are the microprocessor directives and they do not appear in the expanded source code. So to understand it more clearly, you can just have a look on this particular example code of macro. So here you can see we have defined a macro and you have this particular arguments passed to this macro, right? Now you can see in the macro body here AIF, that is the if statement, which is indicating some condition that if the counter equal to 1, okay, then it will go inside the loop. Second AF condition is counter equal to 2, then it will go to final. Okay, final. So final is a label, so it comes to the end of the macro, right? So this is how you can specify the conditions, that is the if condition, and you can direct the next statement to be executed using this particular condition. So inside the micro expansion, we have also used a conditional code using which you can jump to some particular location or execute whatever statement you have to execute as per your program logic, right? So again, wherever is you make a macro call, you pass the actual argument. So here we are passing the counter value. First is the counter value 3. Now have a look of this particular macro expansion. So what happens now? Suppose I am making this macro call. Okay, so I go here. So my first argument is 3. So what happens now here? I got 3. Is 3 equal to 1? No. So this condition is false, so it will go here. Otherwise, if it is equal to 1, where it will go? It will go to the final. That means it will end the macro here. This is how it checks for the conditional expansion and proceeds with the execution, right? So this is called as the advanced facility of the macro, which is defined along with the conditional control for the macro. So thank you so much. Uh, if you have any doubts, you can ask here. So this completes the first section of our unit 2 from system programming related to macro and microprocessor.